Welcome in, all you Duval devout out there. This is Kyle Nash, the student of the game, a Fans First Sports Network, here for this latest edition of the Duval Dive. We told you we had a bunch of mailbag questions. We weren't trying to make you to sit there for an hour or more in one space to take it all in. And listen, the contribution has been fantastic nonetheless. But there's some questions here that I think are a lot of them are defense based. Some of them are less so. I think this is going to be a fun conversation. Not all draft related, some actually roster related. A very nice peppering of defensive questions. And of course, we're going to talk defense. I got to bring in my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, Big Cat Country. What's good with you there, fam? What are you doing, man? What's up?
Hey man, living a dream, bro. You said defense, and I said, I'm sorry, I heard somebody yell my name. Let's go.
Well, hey, listen. First of all, this is defense with extra trimmings by default, and inevitably, with as many Travis Hunters as there are in the Duval Devout, there has to be a Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter question, and we'll lead with that. First off, a NOLA Jags fan jumps in. Oh, excuse me. I have the wrong question. Let's not start with that one. Let's start with that one. That's the one I wanted. I have no idea why StreamYard did that to me. That's very funny. If the Jaguars drafted Travis Hunter, what do you personally think would be the position that gives him his best career? So I'm going to start with this because, first of all, excellent question. That is all entirely system-based, in my opinion. If he ends up a Jaguar, I think he is a corner primarily because that gets him the most playing time. And he's going to be put in, and this part's already, you've probably seen it, the short there out there on the Duval Dive YouTube channel. This is probably going to be a package specific for long ball situations. Brown, Hunter on the outside with BTJ in the slot. Mwah! Okay. That's where I think the Jags will use him. I think that will set him up to get skills to then make him a better NFL player, regardless of whether that's his next stop or he stays in Duval for his entire career. Travis, where are you at?
Well, that's just funny because I totally disagree. And that's not to say you're wrong. It's all but based on where you think they land, where you think it goes from there. Right. I personally think that for Travis Hunter to have his best career in Jacksonville, I thought going into this draft season that he should have been a cornerback. I literally saw Deion Sanders' career, paste that onto the Jacksonville Jaguars, and voila, and flourish.
We agree there,
yeah, we agree there. And now, after a few conversations and a few folks saying, no, I need you to think about this in detail. I need you to think about this in full detail and what Travis Hunter would be in this Jacksonville Jaguars offense paired with BTJ, with an exploding wide receiver market, with the exploding money that comes along with the wide receiver market, with his ability to truly be that Devontae Smith, to truly be that maybe even ceiling of Justin Jefferson as far as his ability to play the ball in the air. Ooh, that's a hard one to say. He would have a better, more impactful career than playing at corner than playing receiver. That'd be a hard sell at that point because of how much the NFL is not allowed to hit when people are crossing the middle, and they're not allowed to put their hands on guys down the field versus in college. Like, I can see him being even a better receiver prospect in the NFL than he was at college, coming out. And that's a crazy statement to make for someone who's already a top receiver option in the draft.
I'll say this. Where you make sense is if he transitions to be a full receiver full-time later, like kind of like not that Devin Hester tried to be a full-time receiver ever, but there was that time where he was listed as a wide receiver, had wide receiver reps, as well as being the special teams guy instead of corner.
Right.
Again, not an apples to apples example perfectly, because I don't see Hunter taking many special team snaps, although I'm not ready to rule it out by any stretch. But I think to start his career, he needs to be a corner. If he transitions to what you're talking about, for one, I'm pretty sure he'd have to leave Duval to do that. Two, if he could be like a Welker type, that's a fascinating thought.
Well, I think BTJ is not going to be the Welker type, but going to be the Cooper Cup type.
But
Like,
that's the thing. If you want to base it to that, see, we're on the same page with this. If you want to base it like that Patriots offense he was so prolific in, BTJ would be the Moss type, and he could be the Welker Edelman type, getting the underneath and getting the yak.
but both are versatile enough to be able to do either one and
There you
work
go.
out just fine. I do fully understand you.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like you've already heard the rumors that where the Patriots, they view Travis Hunter as a receiver who can play corner sometimes. And there are a few teams who view him as a corner and who can moonlight as a receiver. There's no right and wrong answer. But my personal opinion, being biased as a cornerback, was always to say he should be Deion Sanders incarnate. But in reality, I can see in today's NFL where my personal lean is probably going to end up being, yeah, he probably should be a receiver because they don't get hit and they make way more money.
But in Duval, he's going to get more playing time as a corner to start. I don't know. It's a fascinating thing to observe, especially the question does.
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure that that's true though. Who's going to play? He's going to get more playing time as a corner than he would get playing time as a receiver in Duval County.
Certainly.
I mean, who he's going to get an equal amount of playing time either way, cornerback or
until Tyson
or
Campbell gets hurt inevitably.
I mean, the playing time is the playing time. He's going to be your starting second corner or your starting first corner. But either way, he's playing 100% of the snaps on defense.
Okay.
On offense, he's going to be your second receiver or your first receiver if he's good enough to beat out BTJ. But in either way, he's probably still getting 100% of the snaps, if not 90 plus percent of the snaps in both of those situations. Who's going to take him off the field?
I think it's a higher mountain. I think it's a higher mountain for him to climb to beat out Brown than it is for him to get on as the slot from day one and then get moved into Jarian's spot when Jarian has to fill in for Tyson Campbell when he gets hurt. That's what I'm saying.
Sure. I guess that's fair, but I also think that's a low bar. So I got you. I'm with you so far.
All right. Well, fair enough. Anyways, let's jump to the next one. We've talked about this one, I think, a bit at length. So this one should be relatively short. If Carter and Hunter are both gone, do you think the best option is to trade or stay put? Listen, point blank for me, and I've been pounding the table, that defensive tackle is, in fact, the shortest way and easiest way to improve this group. You got to see what's on the table first. Because, and this does assume Carter and Hunter are both gone, let's be clear. So if somebody's desperate for Will Campbell, let's say, and they're pounding the table for it, or they want to be able to jump up, or they're worried that Mondu will be off the table. Somebody really wants an offensive line prospect. That's the only way I think you'll get the value that demands trading a fifth pick. And if you get that, you send it. Travis, where do you sit?
Right. I think I'm with you all day. Like, I don't know that there's a team that's available that's going to want to trade up into that fifth pick simply for fill in the blank person. I don't know, Ashton Genty. Or Tech McMillan, whoever it may be.
Will Johnson,
so so it's only a limited amount of guys who are going to warrant the trade up in this, top in this. I don't know if I can call it a top heavy draft because it's definitely not.
It's not. It's heavy in a lot of places. Yeah, but it's light at the top, precisely. Right.
Yeah. So in that way, it's not. So you're going to trade back. I mean, trade back has to be the option, has to be the answer here. The only question of the hour is, what are you talking about getting? Because if you're, like I said in the previous Duval Dive episode, if you're only getting 60 cents, 70 cents on the dollar, are you willing to move back from pick 5 to, let's say, pick 12 and get a third round pick or something like that? In most other drafts, you might get a second round pick. Maybe even a late first. I mean, let's say a late first, like a future first or something along those lines. And that's unlikely to be on the table. So would you be truly willing to give up on a top 5 talent for a third round draft pick or two fourth round draft picks or something like that? No. And I know a lot of people will say no. But again, that's what 70 cents on the dollar might look like.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, exactly. And at that point, you might as well take a shot for a top-ranked player at a position of heavy need. That would be Mason Graham, which is why I did what I did in the mock draft. So all that being said, and we'll do the short version. The only reason why any of the players, be they Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, and Will Campbell, or any of the, the only reason those guys are considered top 5 instead of top 3 is because there's quarterback desperate teams at the top. any team that doesn't need a quarterback, a la the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's third in the mix with that in mind, is in trouble. And that's why the 5th pick is what it is, like we talked about there.
For the most part, yeah. So if all the top teams do the intelligent thing, the Jacksonville Jaguars will have some hard decisions to make.
The Browns and Giants are both involved, so that could be a challenge. Shots fired.
Hey, man, trade back is the get out of jail free card, and everybody want one. I got you.
Facts of the case. With that in mind, we'll go to this question. I'm not mad at this question because it's a response to a lot of silly stuff in my opinion, silly stuff going on out there about Travon Walker and moving him. But the question is from Nola Jags fan, another good drop from him. What's the possibility we re-signed Travon? We always re-sign Travis D. Holmes here on the Duval Dive. What is the possibility we re-sign Travon Walker this offseason? Now, when you say re-sign, I'm assuming they mean like a contract extension.
Yeah.
To put it bluntly, I don't see a good, intelligent fiscal reason to do that. And it's less Travon's fault and more being tied to a Tyson Campbell, a Josh Hines-Allen, a Foye Oluokun, and of course, lately also now a Trevor Lawrence, perhaps even to an extent a Gabe Davis, assuming they aren't moving him, and other deals they've made with Walker Little, Ezra Cleveland, other guys that are already drawing in some cash. The smart thing to do is to suspend that and, enjoy the rookie discount and see if he's consistent. If he gets a third year with 10 sacks, then we could have that conversation in 26. What say you, Travis?
I think I'm pretty much in agreement. As it currently stands right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars have Travon Walker under contract for at least, he's under contract for his rookie contract for the 2025 season.
Right.
I can't even say likely. They're going to, in my personal opinion, they're going to pick up that 5th-year option before May 1st. So you come back to this podcast and listen in the future. Back to the future. Yeah, they're Jacksonville Jaguars, ticker tape at the bottom of the screen. Jacksonville Jaguars, they take the 5th-year option for Travon Walker. So they have him under contract for 2 years. And then they have the franchise tags in the bag where they could still hold him under team control for up to the next 4 years, should they choose to.
Great Scott.
What are we what are we really talking about at this point? If we can negotiate with him as early as this summer, but there's no urgency in the new defense with a new regime that they want to see what they're working with right here. So yes, could they be extended very early to avoid the whole situation that the Cincinnati Bengals is going with, acting like a broke organization? Absolutely. They can save 20%, 30% on the value by negotiating early versus waiting and trying to negotiate with them in the future. But you also run into that situation where if he has a down year or if he has some acclimation needed in this new defense or a new system or has an injury year or whatever, then you just negotiate it with a guy with a big contract who may be coming off a down season. So that I don't think that they'll do it this summer, but I absolutely could see it after this season. And again, they're still under team control for up to another 4 years.
By the way, another thing that's a factor, the salary cap is about to go up again in 26, which is a lot of reasons, a lot of trades and values you see criticized. What's being not talked about enough is that cap going up. I mean, it's a factor in, you mentioned that signing of T. Higgins by the Bengals. The more ridiculous signing, in my opinion, is Stephon Diggs in New England and the money he's getting. That better for darn sure is factored in. They're taking into account the rising salary cap in the future seasons too. So all that
Trey Hendrickson is coming. That contract with the Bengals may be setting a new standard coming soon.
That's a great point by you, Travis Holmes, especially as desperate as the Bengals need him. And the Jags just aren't in that situation right now. They have Foye, they have Josh Hines-Allen. Travon is unfortunately where he sits a nice to have, a very nice to have. I want them to keep him. Heck, I liked him a lot more than all you on draft night. Okay. I said it, Duval, devout facts of the case. Being said, go ahead. Yeah.
But if folks are talking about, everybody's talking about the whole trade Travon rumors and conversation and all the nonsense. And I'm just like, because you have him under that team control for so long,
that just makes no sense.
Travon. You wouldn't trade Travon in 2025. They'd have to knock your socks off with any trade offer to even think about that kind of conversation. So
Yeah.
you save him for this season, even if you got someone like Abdul Carter, or you got a great defensive, designated pass rusher option, and they just blew up and had a great season. You trade him after the season. You wouldn't trade him before it, or maybe even during it. You lean on this 2025 season, and then trade him to another team who has him under team control for 2 to 3 years. That's a smart thing to do. So it's a non-starter conversation currently.
You would need some capital, so they paid for the fact that they wouldn't have to pay him yet on his rookie contract. Yeah, that's a great point you make, for sure. But yeah, at day's end, also it just happens to be a good idea to keep Travon. We're not saying get rid of him.
Absolutely.
That's just a silly take in my opinion. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Travis, tell the world, my friend.
You can find me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes, whether it's Blue Sky, X, Instagram, Facebook, etc. But you can find my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars, BigCatCountry.com. Get your information from the people on the ground, man. And not only that, we are the longest running SB Nation fan group for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So obviously, go have your verse heard in the comment section. Talk to a lot of Jaguar fans who are obviously here repping that Duval till they die, forever and ever and ever. Been around for 20 plus years at this point. And more importantly, you're not getting your information filtered from these freaking Bleacher Reports and all these little garbage places. Sorry, I'm not saying that all of them are garbage, but they kind of just take other people's information and kind of just filter it for you when you can just read it directly yourself. So why not just get it that way? That's kind of my opinion. Same thing with Nash. You got to be reading. If you're not reading Nash's work on Fans First Sports Network, you're hustling backwards. You need to get on that, man. But yeah, speaking of Fans First Sports Network, where can you be found?
Why, thank you. I can also be found on the Fans First Sports Network, covering both the Orlando Magic and the Duval's own Jacksonville Jaguars, as well as my work with the Black and Gold Banneret covering UCF. I'll also check out their podcast, the Night Shift Podcast, as well as the Night Shift Podcast YouTube channel. And make sure you subscribe and like the Duval Dive YouTube channel. We're growing rapidly there. I'd like to keep that going for you. And get in there while it's free, folks. I'm trying to tell you, don't waste your time trying to figure out what Shady McCoy's saying. It ain't worth it. We know what we're talking about. We'll leave it with, I said what I said. I said something shady about McCoy. That's what I did. Anyways, for my personal champion, Travis T. Holmes, I'm Kyle Nash, student of the game. Thank you for all the questions and all the interaction. Until next time, my friends, class dismissed.